Welcome to another episode of You Already Know. We're still having light issues. A new one is coming tomorrow. I've got some hood thing rigged right now, and the main light will likely go out. But that's okay. Today, what came to me to speak to, oh hey everybody, welcome, come on in, is our angels, which is interesting, in that it's not a topic that I personally feel studied on. Hey girl. I more or less established my relationship with God, hey, and spirituality, or my version of religion, without any formal guidance or training. I guess I'm just speaking. I'm gonna give myself over and just let it talk. Let's see, where were we? You can too. It's interesting. I think that there are so many incredible tools available to us, so many different avenues of expression, all of these incredible things to enjoy on earth that we lean back from or reject because of maybe the perceived barrier to entry. Maybe you think you need to know things first, or maybe you think that it's something that it's not, or maybe you don't know if you have what it takes to really explore it thoroughly. I'm gonna keep tapping this. Knocking it back on. Let's just go ahead, light. For whatever reason, maybe you're not leaning into these things that you could make your own because of an idea. Get the light up. So I'm going to talk to you about angels. And really what I'm going to do is allow myself to perceive and translate ideas on angels that I haven't come to on my own. And that's another, let's say, ability that I found existed to me and for me, because I let it, and it serves me when I'm working with clients. And it has taken years, people, years, and it need not perhaps, but it has taken years for me to feel comfortable in doing it and trust it. I started messing around with it in 2017, although I had been pursuing self-mastery. I found a program I exercised. Okay, no, that doesn't matter. It goes back, and let's see, what's my point here? Believe in yourself and consider the implications of existing in this incredibly trainable flesh machine that seemingly responds to desire, intention, and application of stimulus. You know, that's just a fancy way to say, like, yo, if you doing bicep curls and you can stimulate adaptation when you wanna and you try to, seemingly. Okay, so back to the main topic of angels, and what I have here today is a 528 hertz tuning fork that my mama sent me, and feels like to use that. And let's breathe a little. And so, in bringing kind of like the topic of angels into the realm of Instagram today, and YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, this is being filmed live on Instagram.com/Shaylee__Edwards. If you're on Instagram, please join me on YouTube. Or rather, connect with the experience of your own. Why is that meaningful? Why does it matter? Look, that's really up to you. For me, what For me, it's a sense of calm, peace. You know, it's really wild to be a human just barreling through time and space, right? You know, there's so much information right now from every angle. Think how much, like today I was thinking what a gift a book used to be, because people didn't have access to books. And so if you got a new story, like it was a thing. And now we're inundated with all, like, you can't get away from information. And that's just information that you would be taking in like the old-fashioned way. You know, you're looking or reading, but there's so much information to feel as well. And you know, I was reading I think it's the Art and Physics book, and it was talking about how there are unpredictable leaps in development for kind of like our universe, you know, like the Big Bang. And I honestly, similar to religion, like I really haven't looked that deeply into any of these things. It's just not how I'm inspired. In any case, like, I do like the writer, and thus far he's made sense. I'm on page 400. He talked about how kind of like, you know, the universe, all these like atoms or whatever came about. Hey, everybody. And then they coalesce into atoms, and then into stars, and then to the rock with carbon-based life form that then had some level of sentience, and then some level of, you know, self-reflection, like we're in this vehicle that's forever evolving, and our nervous system is central to our personal experience. Hello. And it's crazy to think like, it's just on the move, like it's always evolving. And that ties back to what I was saying earlier about the potential of development, the potential of adaptability, intentional adaptability. And then there's also just kind of like the demands of the overall body of humanity. You know, we're coming to know ourselves as one. And that's not really this far-fetched esoteric concept. It's quite literal if you think of it at a micro level, at like a family or a town level. Each participant affects all the other participants. All the other participants affect the participant. It's like this interlocked, entangled thing that feeds into itself. And so while we're in or on Earth, kind of like separate from each other, it's still kind of like one neighborhood and one family, and each piece feeds into the other, and we're coming to see like feel rather, you know, our differences do not make us separate. They make us distinct, as in that we are individually, like, you know, we are a part, one, but not separate. So anyhow, going back to this idea of angels, what you could do if you were interested in playing along would be to listen to this or do this offline by yourself, in a relaxed state. Kind of bring yourself to your center, and try to feel kind of your heart area. Imagine that there was a cube around it, so kind of like 8 inches one way, 8 inches another around your heart, and bring your awareness away from your thoughts, maybe away from the noise outside, and try to feel out that cube. If you haven't done an exercise like that, I talk a lot about this in my broadcast, so sorry if you're old school and it's redundant, but it's a practice. Dude, I can't say enough about practice and shit. Like, practice stuff and you get better at it. So like one way to practice connecting with your body is to try to feel your socks or your shirt, or where your weight is in your feet, or are you, tensing your muscles anywhere. like we can pull so much of our experience out of our bodies into our heads and just focus on whatever it is, whatever illusory construct we're entertaining, whether it's an actual fantasy or if it's just rehearsing the past or some conversation that hasn't happened. Just to remind y'all, that stuff's not real. It's happening in here. It's not to say that, you know, there aren't elements that reflect the external world, but you will never accurately represent the external world interiorly, because you can't. The blind man parable of the elephant says it best. You know, we're all just kind of feeling one side of this big thing, and depending on where your hand is determines the experience that you insist it is. And you ain't wrong, but it's just not complete. And so our personal abstractions of reality are just one hand on the beast. Okay, so in bringing your awareness to your heart space, see if you can, it feels like open a door somewhere. At the very core, at the very like intersection of all the, like the very center of the cube, imagine that there is a door. And if you haven't done much imagining as far as like this visual exercise stuff that I'm talking about, don't sweat it. Again, with practice, you'll get better. But right now, if you're interested, whatever comes to mind, go with it. So you have a little door and allow yourself to open the door. And I'm also going to imagine kind of like a egg shape around me to encase and partition off my personal energetic experience, and you can do the same. Okay, and now see if you could put kind of like a phone in the room beyond the door. This is kind of fun, right? Imagine that there is a call coming through to the phone. Press a button that says speaker and feel the other party's energy or intention or love kind of fill out the cube or the whole egg shape. So on the other line is your angel, and I'll use singular for now. That's it. So over coming days, you can do that often and just see what develops. You know, do you notice that you have, like, I don't want to lead your experience. Notice what you notice. Some things you might pay attention to are how calm you feel, how centered, or how sure. Feels like a level of support. And then perhaps over time you develop a more open dialogue, you know, and maybe the way the dialogue starts is outward going, meaning like you to them, where there's thanks for what you already have. Man, you cannot imagine how great shit is for you. There are so many things out there that you likely would not want to experience right now. Even with the stuff that you have, like, never to downplay or discount your experience. It's not comparative. You should really, however you're feeling, validate it, whether you think it's a big deal or a little deal, whether you think it's petty or not petty. Like, your experience is your experience and it matters. So start by embracing it. And while you're embracing it, you can also consider all of the blessings that you have. Allow your reach to go around all the stuff that sucks, but also around all the stuff that's great. And sometimes it does help to see, you know, like contrast, where it's like, oh man, that would make it more challenging. Like, allow yourself to own, play your role, play your part. A while ago, I came to, it was in a meditation and came to me. That I might always feel like my heart is broken. And I was channeling. It was on Instagram. I have a background channel in Intergalactic Hotline that I share my lab notes on, and I was speaking to, or kind of like, it creates this loop for me, and it's cool because like I can also deliver to other people messaging. But anyhow, what came out was like, oh man, like my heart might always be broken. I might always feel this pain, and maybe that's the cross that I bear. And that some people have physical limitations that they enter this life with, or they have other challenges. And knowing that I didn't have to resist it anymore and I could allow it changed so much for me, because my arrow had been pointed directly at it. Like, how do I fix this? But if that's who or how I am, okay. And I'm going to end with that and some bolding. Let's see, which one are we going to use? So I say this in a lot of my content, and I think I have a whole video on it, but my favorite mindfulness tool of all time is this. Okay. And that's what you do when you're wrestling with you're doing mental gymnastics, or you're wrestling some emotional gorilla about what couldn't be or shouldn't be or might come to be or wasn't or is, or it's a acceptance tool. Mindfulness to me is allowing a little space, enough space between you and your thoughts that you don't have to buy what they're selling. I think of the mind kind of like a really great salesperson at a kiosk in the mall. If you're not on your shit, you walk past, they're going to hand you something and engage you, and before you know it, you're walking away with something you don't need. You don't have to be mean to the person. What you can do is recognize they're trying to sell you something you don't need. And so by focusing forward, or allowing yourself to say, thank you, that's so kind, have a great day, and like going on, you don't lose resource, energy, money, attention to something that you don't really want. Similarly, the mind will try to sell you things all the time. Mindfulness to me is being present enough that you have that little space, that you don't buy in directly to whatever thing it's created. Because remember what I was saying earlier, it's a lot of illusion, it's the abstraction, and you'll believe it. You will really, 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 really think that what you think is the thing. And who knows, you might be really accurate in a lot of your interpretations, but nevertheless, thinking is constrained by what is known, and everything is not known. So even if you knew everything now exactly as it was and is, you don't know how it folds into the story. Everything is always moving, and plus, for you to know everything, you would have to know yourself complete, and you can't see or how you see, and and yet there is use to thought. Okay, so ending today on the mindfulness tool of like, okay, oh hey girl. Today I talked about angels. If you want to come back and watch this later, and how to get at your one angel. I guess I was just connecting you with I don't know if it's your main angel or just the one that answers the phone. In any case, if there's something right now that you're upset about, or something that you have been resisting, or you feel guilty about, or that you think is wrong, maybe a choice or a turn that you made back down the way that you think has turned out to something you don't want or don't need anymore, call that to mind. Hey Sean, we're about to do okay. So just call to mind something that maybe you could give yourself or allow yourself to play in a little more peace with. Look, you don't have to keep it at peace, but if you want to try it out for today and just see how it feels, call it to mind. And we're going to let it be okay, whatever it is. Just okay. It doesn't mean that you let the circumstance persist forever. It only means that you say yes to it right now in a way that you can play it from here. No matter where it is. is what it is. Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming out and for humoring my light hack. I've got one coming tomorrow, supposedly. There are additional videos in the series available on IGTV, like the little Reels portion. I don't know if that's called that anymore, and also on YouTube. And I've got content I've been refurbishing and pushing out on Instagram. That means I'm taking things I've written before and improving them however I think that they can be. And I'm pushing them out on Instagram and then also on medium.com @ShayleeEdwards. So if you prefer to read things, I'm also working with clients one-to-one. If you use the link in my bio, there is a little shop feature now where you can buy sessions directly. I'm also selling art for incredible artists in New Orleans and beyond. You can check that out in my link as well, or at habitbook.com/art. Oh, the last bit is this week was International Page Day. That's the day that my little sister left Earth. And I didn't, let's honor that for a moment. Just say, hey, girl. She thinks I'm so ridiculous. It's the best. All right. Love you. Bye.